at approximately 25 to 30 years of age. She was suffering from the onset of arthritis or some other bone deforming disorder at the time of her death. Now, Dr. Johnson's finds at Hadar also included a concentration of several hundred bones that came from at least 13 individuals who appeared to have died at the same time or within short intervals of each other. Now, like Mary Leakey, Dr. Johnson thought it looked as though there was some ancient catastrophe. Now, what was the catastrophe? Simopithecus baboons captured primates of Africa and took possession of the females. Now, these baboons were descendants of the giant baboons that fought against Ramapithecus and Lumanians and the daytime people. Simopithecus mergers with macaques evolved the gelada baboon that appeared around 3 million years ago. Gelada baboons differ from true baboons in having the nostrils some distance from the tip of the muzzle. And gelada baboons still live in southern Ethiopia. Now, about 1,250 miles south of Latola is an open region. Here it is, here, same, this is my drawing, but this is an official map. About 1,250 miles south of Latola is a dry, open, rocky region, the kind that baboons naturally prefer. Now, the region has a lot of limestone caves that lie below the surface. Now, fossils of Australopithecus were found in 5 of the caves. They were called, named Makapanskat, Tongue, Sterkfontein, Kromdre, and Swartzkrans. Why they gave them such hard names, I don't know. The caves were occupied at various times between 3.2 and 2.3 million years ago. Now, these three, Sterkfontein, Kromdre, and Swartzkrans caves are within 3 miles of each other. Now, Makapanskat cave is large. In the 19th century, the African chief Makapan, for whom the cave was named, was at war with the Dutch Boers, and he held up there along with 3,000 tribesmen for 3 weeks until driven out by thirst. So that shows you how large that cave is. He was in there, 3,000 Africans were in there, held in there by the Dutch Boers. Okay, now Simopithecus baboons herded afarensis females to caves in South Africa. Excavations or anthropologists digging in Makapanskat cave uncovered an abundance of knobby leg bones, antelope horns, and large toothed jaws, along with 42 smashed skulls of Simopithecus baboons. So these people were fighting, these women were fighting against those baboons. Now, 27 of the skulls were broken on the left side. Along with the baboon skulls were fossil remains of 40 members of a new category that has been called Australopithecus africanus. So in other words, the baboons raped these females, and these females gave birth to a new category, Australopithecus africanus. Now, those fossils date from 3.2 million years ago. Anthropologists state that Australopithecus did not live in the caves, and their fossils were simply the waste or remains left by cannibals. The baboons were cannibals. They were eating the little people. Okay, so A. africanus, the descendant of the baboons and the little people, were fully upright, standing about 5 feet and weighing 75 to 150 pounds. Let's see, do I have an A. africanus here? Yes, this is the skull of an A. africanus. You can see he doesn't have much head up here, and he's got these bones, but that's his skull. this is the skull of a normal, of a person of today. So you can compare the two. You see how full the head is here on a normal person, and this is, or on the people of today, and this is at A. africanus. Okay, they were fully upright though. They were about 5 feet tall. They weighed 75 to 150 pounds. Their heads were still small and ape-like. Their nose is flat. Their face is muzzled. The brain of A. africanus was slightly larger than that of A. afarensis, but slightly smaller than that of A. afarensis, but most anthropologists describe the brain of A. africanus as more human than ape-like. Now, fossils of A. africanus were also found at Sterkfontein and Tongue Cave. Now, Dr. Raymond Dart located the tongue baby. Now, this is the skull. At first he thought it was a baboon. Then he noticed that the forehead was larger than that of a baboon. Now, this is the way they would find the skulls, embedded in rock, and they would have to chip those away patiently. This is the face of a baboon in the rock, and they would chip that away. And this is, we'll get to that one later. Okay, now, we're there now. Sinopithecus baboons merged with chimpanzees, and a larger category of chimpanzees appeared around 2.5 million years ago. Now, this is Olduvai Gorge. It lies between Laetoli and Cuviphora. Now, if you look, way down here is where they found the fossils. Now, all this dirt up here, this is dirt that accumulated. That shows you how the earth grows. This is dirt from where the modern people dug down to find those fossils. So, and this is another picture of Cuviphora. So that just shows you all of this accumulated. And since that time, what is it, about 2.5 billion years ago, all of this, so just think of the whole earth and that much dirt piling up on the whole, how much bigger the earth gets. Okay, Olduvai Gorge is underlaid by 7 to 5 billion year old volcanic rock that formed on the surface around the time Lemuria sank. Now, and the Rift Valley formed. So they're right on the surface. Afarensis people separated, around the time that they separated from chimpanzees. Today, the Olduvai Gorge is a narrow, steep-sided ravine, about 3 miles long and 295 feet deep. But there was no gorge prior to 3 million years ago. At the time of A. africanus, this was perfectly flat. It was, it stood in the shadow of an enormous volcano, and a lake stood nearby. And it was the home of an afarensis community. But fossils that date from 3 million years ago include those of Sinopithecus baboons. So in other words, the Sinopithecus baboons invaded captured the A. afarensis people who lived here. Okay, P. robustus. That's this thing here. Look at that ridge on the top of his head. Here's another one. You see this ridge, those people. P. robustus was the offspring of baboon mergers with A. afarensis females at Olduvai Gorge. The earliest fossils date from 2.7 million years ago, and they were found in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Olduvai Gorge. Now, this is in Tanzania. Now, most anthropologists describe P. robustus as a bizarre ape-man category, more ape-like than human. They were approximately 5 feet tall with thick, heavy bones. P. robustus categories were primitive, robust, muscular, and erect. They stood on 2 feet. Their skulls were topped by this bony ridge. They call that a sagittal crest. And their teeth were heavily mammal. And the earliest A. robustus people ate fruit, vegetables, and meat. Now there were marked differences between the P. robustus males and females. The males being significantly larger, 1.5 to 2 times as big sometimes. Now, is that right? I don't know, but they were significantly larger. Now, Homo habilis evolved at older weight gorge around 2.5 million years ago. This is Homo habilis. Now, his head is perfectly smooth, and it's much higher. He had a bigger, and look at this thing's head. Now, Homo habilis resembled A. afarensis and was completely upright. They did not have heavy brow ridges. See the brow ridges on A. robustus? He didn't have those. We don't have those. That's a trait of an ape. Okay, Homo habilis people ate vegetables and fruits, and their teeth more closely resembled those of modern populations. Now, anthropologists state that the hands of H. habilis were capable of fine manipulations. Now, Carl Sagan wrote The Dragons of Eden, in which he stated, were we to encounter Homo habilis dressed in the latest fashion on the boulevards of some modern metropolis, we would probably give him only a passing glance, and that because of his small size, or relatively small size.